The U.S. Department of Justice says violence and poor conditions are rampant in Georgia's prisons. One woman says that's why she started a group to help families help their loved ones who are in prison. She says a lack of food, unclean facilities, and prison deaths are the three main reasons. The fourth, her son was once in jail. Camila Williams talked with Susan Burns and another mom about how they say their sons were treated behind bars.
I have a son, and he's in Central.
Sandra Goodman tries to stay in contact with her son daily. She didn't want to say his name in fear that people at the jail would retaliate. Goodman says her son has seen a lot of corruption at the jail since he was incarcerated.
There has been a lot of money that has been sent for his safety.
She said another inmate was acting like her son and requested money on Cash App. You can see from this picture, Goodman denied it several times.
I thought it was my son on someone's cell phone, and I sent it, and he said, "Unless you hear from me, do not send anyone any money."
She says cell phones are brought in illegally and someone threatened her son to get her Cash App. Not sure what to do, she heard about They Have No Voice. The founder, Susan Burns, says she started looking at violence in Georgia's prison after her son went to prison.
In 2022, they had 239 deaths. The very last death of the year that year was at Macon State Prison.
Most recently, Hollis Bryant was killed last weekend in Central State Prison. She says Central is generally considered a safer prison. Burns says she tells families what they can do to keep their relatives alive.
Stay in your lane. Don't break up a fight. Stay out of it. Don't get involved. If you're involved, you may very well die.
Goodman hopes there will be change for her son and other inmates.
I'm not saying they're not supposed to be punished, but they are humans. They have souls. They have hearts, just like we do out here.
Goodman says they aren't animals, but deserve proper treatment. In Macon, Camila Williams, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, Goodman says she has contacted the Central State Prison to talk with the warden. She says she's heard back from another person with the state prison system. Hollis Bryant's death comes just 1 week after the death of 40-year-old Tyreen Hardy at Macon State Prison in Oglethorpe. Hardy died around 7:45 a.m. Sunday, December 10th, after a fight with his cellmate. That's according to the Georgia Department of Corrections. Friday, his brother, Keon Hardy, drove to Oglethorpe from Brunswick hoping for answers. He says they didn't tell him much more than he already knew. Hardy stopped by 13 WMAZ to tell his brother's story. He says when he first got the news, he couldn't believe it.
And I kind of froze and I hung up, broke the phone. I threw my phone, like stopped everything I was doing, like it kind of froze. It froze me, as you can see a tear coming in my eyes. Like I didn't expect it.
Tonight at 11, we'll hear more about Tyreen Hardy and his relationship with his brother. We're taking a closer look tonight at problems with the state's prisons. In September of 2021, the U.S. Justice Department announced a statewide investigation into Georgia's 34 state prisons. There are at least 10 here in central Georgia. Their initial report said at least 26 inmates died in Georgia prisons in 2020. DOJ officials blamed the deaths on extreme staffing shortages and high turnover among prison guards, and that may have been encouraging civil rights violations. In 2022, the DOJ took the Georgia Department of Corrections to court, saying it failed to turn over basic information and documents like how many inmates were killed. The State Department of Corrections now tells us 239 inmates died in 2022. That includes homicides, accidents, suicides, and natural causes.